LFO to the pitch of your DDS oscillators or to your filter cutoff point in your filter, this is where you go. Of course, you're going to want to set that LFO. I think it is set permanently. Now, there's probably some under the hood change that can be used on this, or maybe not. I'm not sure. Who knows what new firmware upgrades might hold, but the LFO2 is just a straight sine wave, and you have control of its rate right here. You have a delay, so if you would like there to be a delay before the LFO comes in after you've activated it. More important than calling it a delay, what it really is it fades in the modulation over time, and that's valuable. So it's not that like there's a pause and then it kicks in full. As you just heard, it sort of fades in. So it's really an LFO fade. I feel like I'm going to bust this off when I'm using it. Okay, and so, of course, this can be done with your DDS as well. Yeah, so you have that function going for you. And of course, if you just wanted the LFO to affect one oscillator, you could set DDS1. You could set this to DDS1. Of course, that's also going to affect what your pitch bend is doing, but it's a cool effect to have one oscillator modulated and the other one not. Now, you may have noticed over here to the left, there is a switch. If you didn't notice, what have you been doing? Okay, so right now I have the switch set to trigger. That means that when you press this mod bar thing up, you're going to trigger the LFO. Then we see AT plus trigger. Now, what that does is it kicks in your Aftertouch. So you have a hardwired Aftertouch control of LFO2 that will affect what you have it set to affect over here in your the section that governs what LFO2 does. Wow, great nomenclature, Mark. Okay. So if you don't use this bar and you use the Aftertouch, you're going to get modulation with this current setting. Which is pretty cool. And also, you could be using the bar if you wanted to. You could use a combination of both if you wanted to. So then you have a setting that is on. Now you see the LED for LFO rate just kicks in because now it's permanently on. I don't know if you noticed before, the light was on, but it didn't flash the rate until you actually activated it with this control. Now it's just on. Of course, the delay works with this too. transpose the pitch so you can hear it be obnoxious. So it is a full-featured little LFO to have over here in the corner, controlling basically what's happening with your oscillators, or allowing you to modulate what's happening with your oscillators or to modulate your filter. Other than all of the other ways you're undoubtedly modulating your filter or even the frequency of your oscillators. It's just one further giant sandwich of functionality sitting over here that you can apply in addition to all of the things that you're already applying. You know, this is a kind of modular synthesizer before we even get to the sort of modular-esque part that we're going to talk about, because there's just so much routing that is possible before we even get to the modulation, modular section. There's just complex networks of routing that allow you to get modular outcomes even without it being modular. So in a way, I mean, it's kind of a step above, you know, a traditional analog synth, in the sense that usually there was just a signal path and modulation that happened along the way that you set along the way. But there's complex sets of modulation that can go to a variety of places just based on the settings that you have on the board before you even get modular, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And this section has a lot of that going on, where you can direct the modulations to a variety of places. You can direct how those modulations are kicked in and amounts, and then you have a controller which activates them in unique and interesting ways. And eventually you're going to find like LFO2 is part of the mod assign functionality. So the things we just talked about can be applied elsewhere once we get to the modular section. So it is a very functional left-hand controller for sure. Obviously, I hadn't yet used both the left and right in tandem with the LFO 2 modulations, so you obviously can do that as well. All right, so that is the left-hand section found on the UDO Super 6. You can also use it as a theremin. Okay, that's the left-hand modulation section on the UDO Super 6.